352-854-3670.
Right, 11 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this second day of August. Can you believe the second day of August? The 30th of this month, by the way, is the primaries. Right, and then of course, then after that we vote on the general election back in November. This is a lot of people going to. Well, I say a lot of people are going to show up to vote, but you know how disappointing it typically is.
Yeah.
But I'm just guessing a lot will show up, at least for the general election. Yesterday, by the way, was the deadline to register. So if you're not registered to vote, you're out of the primaries. Mm-hmm. But you still have time to register for the general election. And yesterday was also the day to change parties if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And that also was for the primaries. But that's history. Right now, one of the things that we have a responsibility to do in broadcasting or in the media in general is to let you hear what your candidates have to say. How else will you know? I mean, I guess in today's day and age, you can go on the internet. I got this thing in the mail. My gosh, it was gigantic. It was a gigantic, big post. I never saw a postcard so big in my life. And it was actually against a candidate. It was a negative campaign. But Florida State Representative W. Keith Perry has agreed to be on the air. We're honored to have him on the phone. He'll be on in a second. He is the Republican representative currently for Florida District 21, and he is running for the Florida State Senate District 8. I believe that's Dorothy Hukill. Am I right? As part of North Marion?
Marion,
as
yes,
part of it?
County.
He's got a lot of credentials. He is Majority Deputy Whip 2011 to 2012, the founder of Perry Roofing Contractors. He's an active supporter of Habitat for Humanity. Good for him. We love that group. Brad Nimmo just passed away, and he was our go-to guy for that organization for so many years.
Yes.
Mr. Perry is also the founding president of House of Hope, the recipient of the Business of the Year Award for commitment to the environment by the Alachua County Chamber of Commerce, active with the Women's Center, and a candidate again for Florida State Senate District 8. Wow, goodness. So much to read here. Representative Perry, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, if you didn't do so much, I wouldn't have had such a long intro.
Pick up half the show.
It does, yes, absolutely. So where are you calling from?
I'm calling from my company office up in Gainesville.
Okay. How did I do in the intro? Did I get anything wrong? Correct anything I said that was wrong, please.
No, you got everything correct.
Okay.
Yeah, my first 2 years I served in House District 22. A lot of people remember Speaker Larry Creedle.
Uh-huh.
I took his seat, and that was western part of Marion County. Then we got redistricted in 2012. Mm-hmm. I lost Marion County and moved west with Dixie and Gilchrist counties.
Oh, okay. And you're running for District 8. Am I right? That's Dorothy Hukill's seat right now?
Well, it's an open seat.
It's open. Okay.
Nobody in it now. It takes the city of Ocala, almost the entire city, and moves it north. Highway 40 is the outside of the city. It kind of cuts down and picks up the city limits, and then it goes 40 north of there on both east and west of the city of Ocala, all of Alachua County, and all of Putnam County.
The one thing I think a lot of people, I don't know, maybe I'm alone in this, but I don't absolutely understand the difference that you would make as a senator as opposed to a representative. What are the different jobs?
Well, it's very similar, almost the same exact jobs. There's a few other procedural things, confirming people that the governor would appoint. There's a few other things like that. Probably just the main difference is there's 40 senators and 120 House members. Mm-hmm. So you have a bigger population.
Okay. And of course, it's set up as the federal government is. We don't call it Congress up in Tallahassee, but it's the same idea. Tell me some of the issues that you want to make sure that our listeners know about and how you stand on them.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think the first basic thing is just what is the role of government? What is the responsibility? I heard it from Speaker Cannon my first 2 years up there. It was my first year up there when he was the Speaker, Dean Cannon, and he asked us all, just to ask the question of it's what can government do versus what government should do, not what it can do. And I think we've gotten away from what government should be doing. And simply because government can do it does not mean we should.
Oh, my gosh, that's absolutely true. Yes, we say it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean-
And we've even gotten to the point where certainly the states have acquiesced a lot of rights to the federal government, and whether that's been just a takeover by the federal government or we've acquiesced because of funding mechanisms where we said, okay, we're going to give you control, you give us money. And
Right.
those short-term may turn out okay, long-term they always turn out bad.
Yeah, I agree. Wow. Oh, so far we're 1-1 on that. Okay. So talk about some of the things. One of the things that we're always interested in is water, the aquifer, the Floridian aquifer, as they call it. What are your thoughts on that? And is there anything that you think we should do differently or reinforce?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a couple things on the water. The first thing that I would encourage people to do is understand data, not emotion. And we can't make policy simply based on emotion. That's not how I would do that in my business, or you would do that in your business or your home.
No.
We make decisions based on what's right, both short term and long term. We've done a tremendous amount of things from funding and infrastructure to deal with water issues in the state, and it's the biggest issue we have. But it's not a crisis, and it's not. And this is another reason I think that I'm very concerned with, and that is back to the same thing of giving up our rights. Take water for example. In the last 30 years, consumptive use in the state of Florida is down. We use less water today, even though the population has grown. We use less water today than we did 30 years ago.
Why is that?
Which is a good thing, and it shows that conservation and other things pay off. But we also, when you hear people talk about this crisis that we're in, and government needs to take over, I'll just give you just a quick example. The Alachua County Commission, about 6 or 8 weeks ago, I guess, passed an ordinance requiring all new homes they could only irrigate a certain square footage, and the irrigation had to be done by a licensed irrigation contractor that they were going to license. They were going to set up a whole bureaucracy to manage this program. Well, and then they said we have to do this because of the water crisis we're in. Well, irrigation in the Suwannee Management District, where I represent, takes about 0.4% of all consumptive water use is irrigating yards. So a fraction of total water usage. But then the Gainesville Sun, about 3 weeks ago, had an editorial that justified the county commission's decision, and they based it upon driving into work and someone had a sprinkler going when that tropical storm through.
Right.
Okay, now nobody wants to water your yard.
That's so. I'm sorry. That's so surface. That's so simple. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, the question then becomes, oh my gosh, someone's watering their yard in a storm. That means the government needs to get involved and dictate all these policies.
Gotcha.
Well, that policy, and this is just an example of one of many that go on, that policy is going to cost about $3,500 to the cost of a new home. Housing is not affordable. It's the highest increase in the last 35 years adjusted for inflation of all increases. And so we made that the American dream of owning a home unrealistic for a lot of people. But back to the thing. So they justified that. Remember, it only takes up 0.04% for irrigation. I did quick math. This is something that you can do in Marion County. You can do wherever. I took the square miles of Alachua County. You look it up. You look up the DEP consumptive water use for Alachua County, 59.78 million gallons a day. So round it up, 60 million gallons a day of water is what we use every day. Now, some people might say, man, that's just a ton of water you're using. Well, put in perspective. The storm that came through that justified this ordinance dumped 6.5 inches of rain. Take the square miles, 6.5 inches, divide that by square footage, and what you come up with in that rainstorm was enough water for 4.7 years at 60 million gallons a day.
I love that. Okay.
7 years.
Well, I love that the way you're thinking and the way you're demonstrating your thinking. I regret that we have hardly any more time to talk about other things like taxes and schools and jobs, etc. So let me ask you if you can direct us to your website, because I think you've already piqued our interest. Give me a website if you have one.
Yeah, it's votekeithperry.com.
Okay.
please go there. And then if we get back on, maybe I can come down to your office. I think the other things that you mentioned, education, obviously the environment on a bigger issue, manufacturing in the state, which I think is we're on a three-legged stool from an economy standpoint, and there's lots of things we can do.
Yeah.
Courts and their overreach just recently on the workman's comp ruling.
Yeah.
Medicaid, pension reform. There's a lot of things that I think your listeners,
Keith,
would like to talk about.
What an honor. Thank you so much for being on. I think you demonstrated nicely how you think, and I love that. Unfortunately, some of the things you think about we didn't get on, but we would love to have you back. Thank you, Keith. We will take a break, and we will be right back.
AM 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. 5 people are dead on a highway in central California after the crash of a charter bus on State Route 99. The bus
collided with a sign pole. The bus struck the pole at the right front portion, and then the pole somewhat went through the center of the bus.
Moises Ansouris with the California Highway Patrol. 5 more taken to area hospitals. The French priest murdered by terrorists is laid to rest.
Hundreds of people gathered at Rouen Cathedral in northern France for the